Hello and welcome to TBC, the Board Crew, episode 48. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm joined by...
Bronson, hey, how are you?
I'm good, yeah. It's been like long night of gaming last night, but that's a good reason to be tired.
Yeah. It's a good way to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Or whatever day
Yeah, this
happens to
might
be
not be the weekend. Woo, behind the
Yeah.
curtain.
48's a funny number, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's two before 50.
Yeah, and that's about as significant as it is for both of us.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, pretty much.
Unfortunately, yeah, the play on the number of this episode is that it doesn't really have one.
Yeah, maybe this is the disadvantage of having like the longer we run the podcast for, the less times that we're going to get interesting numbers come
Yeah,
up
yeah.
per episode as a percentage.
But hey, if you're a listener and you know the, bingo numbers and their playful counterparts, let us know. What is 48?
Yeah, or possibly because it'll be too late by then. Let us know what for 49 so that
Yeah,
we're set.
yeah. That would be much appreciated.
Or if you're listening to well in the future and you're like, oh gosh, they're already up to episode like 613 or something, we would love to know the 613 thing that we can put in because we'll be really struggling by that point, I think.
Yeah, just any number that we are yet to review
Yeah,
or any numbers that we have.
sure. If you know an integer,
Yeah.
please put it in the comments.
Oh, love it. All right. Well, I don't know
But like,
integers, but I
as
do
much as
know.
we both love maths, I
Yeah.
think we're probably actually going to talk about board games.
Hmm. I think so, yes.
Yep.
I am going to talk about Bonanza.
Yeah, which like is a little bit mathy.
Yeah, a little bit. We'll
Not
get into
tiny,
that.
not huge, but like
No.
got to make a profit, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I'm going to talk about The Hobbit There and Back Again, which is a beautiful title.
Yeah.
Just sounds cool.
Gosh, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings has been getting a bit of a moment in board gaming.
Yeah, I have a feeling the family like just said, you know what, board games can have all the rights. Go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. On the
Which
other
is good
hand,
for us.
I'm talking about a game that's like roughly 25 years old.
Yeah, it's a good one though.
Yeah.
Well, let's get stuck into it. All right, first up, we're going to talk about The Hobbit There and Back Again. This is by Office Dog, which, like, we've reviewed a couple of Office Dog games now. We've been,
Okay.
like, loving the Office Dog stuff. They were the mob that did the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, the trick-taking game.
Oh, yeah.
So, obviously, they've just got, like, all the rights to
Lord
Lord
of
of the Rings stuff.
yeah. I
Um,
can't wait for the Silmarillion expansion.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's really like digging into like Tolkien more then.
Mm,
Or Rovedom. I'd love a Rovedom themed board game, which is not Lord of the Rings, but it is Tolkien. And
yeah, okay.
like, yeah. So shout out if anyone else has read Rovedom, because I think it's one of his very lesser known works in comparison to like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. But I
Mm.
liked it. It's a little dog that bites a wizard and then gets cursed to be a toy dog and has to go and make amends. Anyway, but this is about the Hobbit there and back again. That was a very rambling story for something about a journey.
That's what The Hobbit's all about, the journey.
Yeah, that's it. And this is, you can take it's called the dice game of Bilbo's journey to the Lowly Mountain, spanning 8 unique adventures. And so it's a roll and write. But the nice thing about it,
Yeah.
like you don't get a pencil and paper. You get like a full-on adventure book that you get to draw in for the different adventures.
Oh, wow.
And so each one has a different rule set, but uses the same basic mechanic. And it's just like they're beautiful little books with these dragons drawn on them, and they're made out of some whiteboard material. So that
I was wondering, is this a legacy game? Are these like permanent additions that you're making to your book?
no, you're just using like whiteboard markers, and then you write the little stuff on and then rub it out once you're done. And so it's 8 different adventures. They're roll 'em rights, and the way that works is the starting player like rolls 5 dice, and then they get to pick one of those dice, and then the next player picks another die, and then goes round and round the table.
Mhm.
The interesting thing is like it plays 1 to 4. I haven't played one player. Maybe we'll have to get deep to do that.
Hmm.
Something. But like with 2, 3, and 4 players, there's not you can't divide 5 dice evenly. So different people get extra dice. So
Hmm.
always if you're the start player, you get more dice. So in 2 player, you're going to get 3 of them and your opponent will get 2. 3 player, 2 of you get 2 and a sad person gets 1. And then in 4 player, only the start player gets 2. But the start player goes round and round and round. The dice are divided into 3 of the dice are path dice, so they'll like draw your little routes that you're going to be like drawing on the map. And then the other 2 dice are like resource dice, so you can get bread and wizard's hats and swords. And there'll be combinations of those kind of things. Wizard's hats you get to use Gandalf's magic, which can do something cool depending on the mission. Bread is often used to like feed dwarves or make hobbits happy, or you know, it's whatever. And swords are often used to like fight goblins or trolls, or stop a warg eating you, or call a giant eagle to come and free you, or those kind of things. Which is like that's a nice little mechanic, and that then is applied to different maps that have different special rules on them. And it is quite interesting. I've only played through 6 of the adventures so far, so I haven't done the last 2. But the different ways they play with that, and they're like, okay, well, you know the base rules now, but now we're
Hmm.
changing it up. So now there's going to be lightning storms that like block your path, or you have to have this exact shape to go in this little bit because you're going through caves, etc., etc. And there's usually bits where if you get there first, you're going to get some extra points, but everyone can get points for getting there. All those kind of bits and pieces. I found it a really relaxing kind of roll and write. It's not a high stakes one, and
Hmm.
it's not the kind of one where often one of the things that I often like in roll and writes that isn't really in this one is the combos. Like you fill in a square and then you're like, oh, now I get this, and then you do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Couple of those in this, but generally you'll just be like, I got to the place I want to. I've connected these things. That's going to score me points at the end, and doing. But I think it makes up for that in 2 ways. One is the drafting is interesting, and second, you can draw over your old paths. So, like if I've drawn a straight line and then I get another straight line, I can make it into a cross. And now I've got
Oh.
an intersection that's going out both ways. Or if I get a T intersection, I can put it over one of my straight lines so that now it's going off in a different way.
Hmm.
And so you never it's never overly punishing. You can't be like, oh, I went the wrong way. And, which you sometimes get in roll and rights, like they're like, you thought you were going to make that route. No,
Yep, yep, yep,
everything
yep.
falls
Yeah.
down.
Like a scribbly gum comes to
Yeah,
mind.
scribbly
Yep.
gum, railroad ink, even ones like welcome to, it's like,
Yeah.
you put in
Once
this
you
number. Oh, no, you got the
that
wrong number. Now you're screwed.
yeah, yep, yep, yep.
That's not going to happen in the Hobbit there and back again. It's a race.
Yeah,
Who can
okay.
get to the places, do the things that they need to on their board the quickest and the most efficient, and then get their points. And it offers you lots of little like side quests, if you like, on every map. Where your thing might be, you've got to get past all these goblins, but you could do a side quest of if you eat some bread in the cave, you're going to get some bonus points, but that's going to take you longer to do than going straight for the goblins. So, do you risk doing that? Because you get extra points if you get out first and all that kind of stuff. Um, I will say the first adventure is pretty dull. Like it's connect 12 dwarves to Bag End because
Mhm.
it's a unexpected party,
Yep.
like when everyone turns up and Gandalf's like, oh, they all knock and come in and he has to feed them all. It's like you're just drawing lines over a map and nothing else special happens.
Yeah, but without that like sequence of learning, then where are you going to get to? Like if you I don't know, I find it so often with games with unique mechanics that if it's too much to learn at the beginning, like you end up spending your first session playing it just trying to learn how to play it.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I played this last night with some players that had never played before, and we played Mission 8, and they didn't have a problem like just
Okay.
going, oh, this is what we're doing. Like, it's not a hard game. I think if you had kids, mission one is great because they could like get it. And it's not like you can't replay the missions. Like it would be like in Railroad Ink going, oh well, I've played that map before. Well, it's all the same map, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So so it is great that you get these eight kind of different games. They're all kind of the same game, but
Mm,
it's interesting maps that play up with it. And so I reckon after you played all eight, it would just be a matter of going, well, I've got my favorites that I'm going to play again and again.
mm,
And like for me, like I don't think I'd play map one unless I really needed to ease someone into gaming. But there's heaps of the other maps that I'd be like, oh, that one was really fun. Like, let's
mm.
play that one and, you know, what mood you're in. But having said that, you can also kind of go through the story and play it, which is what I'm doing. So I'm just forcing everyone else when I play with them. I'm like, by the way, we're playing this map.
I mean,
So
I feel like that makes the most sense. That's like seems like the most rewarding way to play it.
sure, yeah. There's no, other than the narrative connection, there's no building on each one. So
Right, so it's
whatever
not like
happened in the map before has no bearing on the next map. So
yeah, yeah.
in that sense, you can just plonk people in. And I guess if they know the story of the Hobbit, then they're going to. So, like, the next one that I think I would be up to is when all the dwarves get like wrapped up by the spiders.
Mm,
Bilbo's running around with Sting and trying to like free them all and stuff. So I haven't read the rules of that one, but that's, you know. So if you've read The Hobbit, you're like, oh, I know the spider scene. Like that's,
yeah.
or even in the movies, you know, that's where it is. So I think for people that know the story, they can at least drop in and go, oh yeah, this is this scene. You know, this is what we're doing. It makes sense.
I'd be curious to see how somebody like picks up the story having not read it. Having like,
Yeah,
would they understand the story by only playing the game? I think the Lego Star Wars series is a really good example of that. Seeing how a game takes a narrative, makes it mechanically make sense,
yeah.
and like reduces its narrative to its core parts. What do
I
you reckon?
don't think there's enough in here to you basically you get half a sentence, which is the story, and then you get like a paragraph, which is the rules for that story,
Yeah.
and then you get the game board essentially. If you know the Hobbit story, you will instantly go, oh, because it's picking the high moments, right? It's like the
Yeah.
unexpected party, it's the trolls getting turned to stone, it's the riddles with Golem messing about trying to get the ring,
Yep.
etc. Like
So
those big beats, but it's only 8 beats.
yeah.
And so could you summarize the Hobbit in a meaningful way with 8 pictures and 8 sentences? Maybe, but they didn't.
No.
So yeah.
So it sounds like more of a reward for someone who has read or seen The Hobbit,
Yeah.
um, and is looking for a like a retelling or an adaptation more than a complete like you can understand this text from this version of it.
Yeah, yeah. I think at most it might pique your interest to go, oh, I really should read or watch The
Yeah,
Hobbit, but I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
think anyone I think it does good service to The Hobbit. That nothing's felt
yeah.
particularly un-Hobbit like. And maybe that fits that kind of like it's all pretty cash and you know, we're going on an adventure. No high stakes. Although I haven't got to the dragon yet, so maybe the when
Mm,
we're in smog, that's gonna be a problem. Don't know. But I also don't think it's enough to kind of really bring you along without the story helping.
mm.
So yeah, another great hit from Office Dogs. I reckon they're hitting it out of the park lately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Very cool.
Hobbit, there and back again. I'd recommend giving it a shot, especially if you like The Hobbit.
Yeah, the year is 1997, and I did not play this game in 1997. I only was introduced to Bonanza a couple of years ago, recently. Funny enough, so the group chat I have with the friends that introduced me to this, shout out Sam and Imogen. The reason that we have the name for this group chat is because we were organizing a day to play this game.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, that's a real deep cut. But Bonanza is not that complicated. It's probably less complicated than that backstory.
Possibly.
It's a set collection game with a bit of trading. The game is played through a deck of cards. The cards have different legumes, different beans on them. And these beans are worth different amounts of currency. That relates to how many there are in the deck and how easy or difficult it might be to get a set. There'll be some that there are less of in the deck, but also you need less of to make a set. At that level, it sounds pretty simple. You're picking up cards, you're putting them down, you're making sets. Like, how's that different to any other trick-taking game? Is that you can't shuffle your cards
Yeah,
in
you
your
can't
hand.
change your hand at
So
all.
when you pick up a card, it has to be put at the back of the hand,
Yeah,
and
yep,
you're only ever playing the like front card of your
yep.
hand.
Possibly the front two.
Front two.
Yep.
And so what do if you're really stuck? You don't want to play those cards. You trade, you negotiate. And it's, yeah, really fun. It's not like just a matter of, oh, I want this resource, therefore it's more valuable to me. There's also this, I don't want the resource in my hand. This
It's
is less
really
valuable.
bad for me right
Yeah.
now.
So there's this real art of negotiating that goes on. It's you don't want to give too much away, but you don't want to be dishonest either, because then like you kind of like that's bad for the metagame. That's bad for your like your trust relationships and trust building as a scrupulous bean farmer.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it is really interesting that you can get in, let's say, I've already got two beans planted. So I've got like a chili bean and I don't know, green bean
mm,
planted. And both of them are almost got that like next level of the set where I'm going to earn the big bucks.
yeah,
Right. And then the next thing in my hand is like a coffee bean.
yeah, yep, yep,
And I'm like, I really don't want this coffee bean. And Bronson's got like a set of coffee beans where he really needs one more. And we'll be in this interesting thing where I don't want to give Bronson the coffee bean for nothing. And and Bronson also doesn't want to just take the coffee bean off me to give me a favor. Yet both of us really, really want that coffee bean to be traded. And
mm,
it's sort of that little dance that we're going to do of how is that going to work? Like, because, the best situation for both of us is I just give Bronson the coffee bean, but we'll
yeah.
probably have a bit of a chat about what we could do to make it better.
Yeah, I've reviewed another game by Uwe Rosenberg, who I don't know if I've already said, but is the creator of Bonanza. Patchwork.
Mm,
That was episode 20. I know it was in the
yes.
20s.
Patchwork Americana 20.
Yeah, lovely. What I think is really fun is to see, like, Patchwork came out almost 20 years after this game.
Yeah.
But you see the, like, blueprints, the framework of this trading, negotiating, risk reward mechanic
Yep.
where like you've really got to think about the value you're giving to someone else versus the like disadvantage you're giving yourself.
Yeah.
In the way that you pick up tiles in Patchwork, it's really similar how the trading works. Like you're limited to what you can use. There's an order, and it's about playing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the other thing is too, it feels less innovative now, but that not being able to rearrange your hand, like this was the first game that did that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
people
You
might be
gotta
like, oh, that's like Scout. Well, not really. Scout
No,
is like
Scout's like
Bonanza.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I think aside from like it's fun to talk about old school games. Like I think it's still relevant. I think this to me, if I was more exposed to common card games and was looking into or being introduced to the world of what do we call it? We don't call it indie board games. It's
Hobby board
craft
games,
hobby board
designer board
game,
games.
designer board games. I
Yeah.
like that one. I ask every time, what do we call it?
Yeah.
If I was someone who played a lot of card games, a lot of common card games, and then was getting into designer board games, Bonanza is great.
Yeah.
Even if, let's say, I've played Catan, which I feel like is the maybe not so much these days, but for a long time that was the gold standard of like, you're into board games.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's say you've played Catan, you like how it's different to the rest of the Milton Bradley stuff.
Yep.
This is a great game. to get into next. It's like, yeah, definitely a staple. One I recommend if you're a regular host or regularly introducing people into the hobby of board games. I guess the downside being that its aesthetic is of its time. Like it doesn't look as polished as modern games, as current games do, because it was designed in the late 90s.
I mean, it's slightly anthropomorphic beans,
Yeah,
right? So
it's
it's cartoony.
like
Um,
Insanity Streak
yeah,
almost in its art style.
yeah.
Um,
It's a
I
bit Mad Magazine style of like if you
yeah,
imagine Mad Magazine drew beans,
yeah, yeah,
that's almost basically where you're going to end up. Well,
yeah,
maybe a little bit less zany than that, but they're pretty zany beans, right?
yeah. They are, they are. Yeah. It's not mad zany, but it's like if Mad Zany was to get transposed into a family-friendly card game, then this
Yeah.
is what it'd look like.
Yep.
Which, at first glance, I wasn't the biggest fan of the aesthetic. I think because, like, my mind goes to things like Insanity Streak or Munchkins,
Yep.
and I'm just a bit not into the, like, broader themes that come with those two.
Hmm.
But I can appreciate I can appreciate where it sits. I can appreciate like what it is and where it comes from. But I think if you like, because Scout looks like Mickey Mouse, it looks super clean.
Yeah.
What are some other games that have that sort of cleanness to it? Like,
Well, I mean, Flip Seven's just got the classic Art Deco, right? So just
yeah,
yeah.
which is an old style, but it's done so well. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, look, I mean, you are the kind of the graphic design and the popness of Bonanza doesn't like you're not going to lay it out and people are going to be like wow or
mm,
anything like that. But it is just a I don't want to degrade it, but it is just a card game and I feel like the look of it at least for me doesn't detract enough that you're
no,
like well I'm not having fun.
no,
Uh,
it's
it
honestly, it's a
fits.
first glances kind of thing. It's a hook and hold. Like, as
Yeah.
long as you can like if you can go, well, these aesthetics were for someone at a certain time and they're not for me now, that doesn't mean the game's going to suck.
Yeah. If
Don't
anything,
judge a
I
book
think
by
the
its
thing
cover.
that counts against Bonanza is when you like get people and you're like, okay, we're going to play Bonanza. We're going to be bean farmers.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? You're like, no, we're going to like farm and trade beans. Like, it'll be great, guys. Like, that's probably for me feels like more of a because say with Scout, theoretically the theme is you're building a circus.
Mm,
That, well, not really. So, and Flip Seven at least has the courage to go. There's no theme. You're just
no,
flipping seven cards.
it's good enough on its own. That's
Yeah.
what makes it the greatest card game of all time.
Bonanza, like the theme actually makes sense. You only have a certain number of plots. Some beans are easier to grow than others.
Mm.
It
There's
it sort of
scarcity as well, like some
yeah,
are more popular than
yep,
others, some have just more accessibility than others.
yep. And you need that plot mechanic because you can even buy like a third plot with some of your money.
Mm,
Feels like a bit of a noob trap sometimes because you're like, oh,
yeah.
I've spent so much money and now I can't. And all it does is mean I get less of my things harvested. But anyway, the farming theme does actually matter for gameplay, or at least it makes sense in the gameplay thing. But
Mm,
it's also not particularly the theme that I am most drawn to in board games of I could be a bean farmer.
mm,
So,
But I guess it's this like if you're yeah, I've talked about like who this game could be for, but I think another player that this could be for is the type who has played like what this game led to, and you're looking to understand the source material a little more. A good parallel being like if you've played Heat, Tony and I both played Flamme Rouge together at CanCon, and it was really cool to see like how where Heat got its inspiration from.
yeah, yep,
And
for
so
sure.
if you've played other Uwe Rosenberg games, especially more of his like crunchier, also funny enough, he has a lot of farming games,
He
like
loves his farming. So
big on agriculture. But if you've played like agricultural themed Euro games, this is such a low like investment both in time, in shelf space, and learning.
Mm.
That I'd recommend it. I think it's great to see where modern games have come from.
Yeah, for sure. Look, and the only thing I'd say really negative against Bonanza is I feel like if it was 5 or 10 minutes shorter, it would
Yeah,
be just right there. Like
yeah,
it
it
always
is.
just feels by the end of it, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm like, I'd be okay if we ended now, but we've actually got 2 or 3 more turns of that deck just going
Yeah,
through.
it is
Um,
that. Yeah, it's not like quite a filler. It's just a light single play. Like
yeah,
you don't want to play it. You might if you're motivated, play it twice in a row,
yeah,
but it's not like you could play that in between other games unless you're playing until the late hours.
yeah. I feel like if he had it, if he redesigned it now, it
Mm,
probably would hit that kind of 5, 10 minutes shorter.
mm,
Just be that slightly more streamlined thing. But then also, if your players are quick on the trades
mm.
and somewhat decisive, then it can go pretty quickly. But definitely, it has the potential of lots of people going, "Oh no, how about the green bean? And what if I did in the future turn? I trade you a coffee bean, and we'll remember this." And
Yeah, and that
that's the
kind of
nature
thing.
of trading games, though, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, but as long as everyone's like on the up and up, as long as it's not a rug pull, like, hey, by the way, I've decided this is taking too long, so now we all have to be quick. Like,
Timer.
yeah, yeah. I think as long as those like meta rules are established before you play. That's Bonanza. I hope you, yeah, go beans for Bonanza like I have. Yeah, great old game. Enjoy it.
All right, so we've talked about bean farming and the Hobbit. So my question for you, Bronson, is which bean out of Bonanza do you think Bilbo would most likely grow in his garden?
Ooh, the blue bean.
Yeah, yeah,
Feel like that's a nice spot of color in Hobbiton.
yeah. It's fairly. I reckon he'd just go the green bean.
Green
I think.
bean?
I think he'd just like he's not
Yeah.
going to go chili. Maybe coffee,
No.
although I feel like he drinks tea.
I feel like coffee is like too exotic for Hobbiton, you know?
Yeah.
But
If
yeah,
tea grew on a bean, he would grow
yeah,
that.
yeah. If
Um,
tea were a bean, yes,
or if
Bilbo.
tobacco was a bean, some
Yeah, oh
kind of
yes.
like to
What is the
smoke leaf.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I think green bean, or actually a lentil, some kind of lentil.
Yeah.
He'd be in for a stew, a
Yeah, yeah,
good
yeah.
like lentil, maybe a red bean.
Whatever bean they put in journey bread.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Something good and hearty and filling.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode, and we look forward to getting bored with you next time.
Catch you
Bye.
then. See ya.
And this has been The Board Crew. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to continue the conversation, just roll the dice over to our socials. Maybe leave us a review. We'd really love to hear from you. Thanks again for listening. See you next time.
Unless you've got something that you're keen to talk about.
No, I mean, I was just gonna say like I brought Flip 7 to work and now we play it pretty regularly on lunch breaks.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But that's really not like that important.